I'm Mark Hofsek, founder at Conservation Labs. I'm a mathematician trained here at Carnegie Mellon. For the last 25 years, I've had the good privilege of solving large multi-billion-dollar challenges with data science. I wanted to introduce you guys today to a device I invented. It's a data and analytic device. We call it H2Know. H2Know, we see Alexa as a good partner for, and hopefully you'll see why we see that as we go through this. H2Know is a device that sits on top of a pipe, inbound pipe to a property, say a home. That device is understanding what's going on inside that pipe, transmits that to an analytic engine that we've developed, and then pushes that out to the user currently through a user interface that does three things. Talks about insights, what's going on in the home in terms of water consumption. Secondly, custom conservation recommendations. And thirdly, leaks and leak alerts. Let me show you some examples of that. Some simple examples. These are from some live pilots, or they're not live, but they're actual pilots that we've done. We can disaggregate that water, show you that water against appliance use. This is by month. We can look at that, of course, in different dimensions. This is number of times those appliances were used by time of day. And it starts to get more interesting when we can create some custom conservation recommendations. A custom conservation recommendation comes in three ways. It's an insight about your behavior, it is a recommendation for a change in behavior, or it is a recommendation for a change in appliance. So let me give you an example that hopefully is near and dear to Amazon's heart. Data-driven, frictionless commerce. We can create a custom business case based off of your water usage. We identify that you have a low-efficiency appliance. We can recommend a high-efficiency appliance and tell you exactly how much water and money you would save associated with that appliance, and then show you perhaps 2 or 3 of those that are highly rated on Amazon. Leaks are a big part of what we do. This is just an example of assigning a profile against, or assigning an appliance against a water profile. We simulated, this is again actual data, but we simulated the leak just to point out that we can pinpoint where that leak may occur. Leaks are a big problem. It's $10 billion in the US, where P&C insurers and homeowners are paying against that. Part of our objective is to reduce that. It's part of a bigger problem. There's about 2 trillion gallons of water that are wasted or not unwanted use. 2 trillion gallons of water, sums to about $30 billion. It can fill PNC Park about 5,000 times over. We want to solve that with that one simple device. It's a low-cost device. It's an $80 unit that fits over the pipe. We do believe that there's room for a modest subscription fee. And when we do that, our customers will save, the average US homeowner will save about $200 every year. When we do that 1 million times over in 3 years from launch, we would be about a $100 million company, just to provide some perspective. So of course that's a big opportunity, but why now? 50% of homes will be somehow smart home enabled in the next year. Water rates are increasing. My water rate is going to increase 20% next year, but in a recent 5-year period, about 30 major cities had increased water rates by 40%. That will continue to the tune where, because of about $5 trillion in water infrastructure that has to be replaced or repaired in the next decade or two. And of course, there are about 40 million people still out west that have mandatory water conservation of about 20%. All of that is leading to consumer awareness and interest in product like ours. Of course, other folks are chasing this market. It's an emergent and big market. Our biggest differentiator is price. Every company you see up here has a different technology. Our advantage is a low-cost technology coupled with machine learning approach to provide accurate results. We will be 3 to 6 times lower than any of the folks up on this page. And we don't require a plumber, we don't require a technician. Analytics is our biggest differentiator, is a data and analytic device. We do have a team of data science, PhDs and all that kind of good stuff that are helping refine those analytics, create confidence in those estimates, and then create a more custom user experience. Let's talk about IX, UX, and UI just for a moment. We want that installation experience to be very frictionless as well. I'd love for it to be as simple as Alexa, configure my H2Know, put it on the pipe, plug it in, and we're monitoring. From a user experience perspective, about half of our value proposition is really walking alongside the customer, the homeowner, and helping them conserve money. We think that voice is an important part of that. So I can ask Alexa questions like, how's my water consumption? Alexa, what's my H2Know rank? Or Alexa, what's the average length of a shower in my household? We have a fantastic team. Brett and I have worked together for about 25 years. He's also from CMU, another math guy. Tom is an engineer doing a lot of the heavy lifting with a particular device, multiple patents to his name. His technology sits on the desk of the President of the United States. The advisory team, almost glamorous and active, PhD statistician, former CMO at Solar City, operations, a management expert, and a serial technical entrepreneur with a passion and experience in UX UI. We are in prototype and pilot phase, patent pending, all Ps. We are moving into private beta, and we've self-funded to date, and we believe we can get to market for about a little over $1 million. That is Conservation Labs. Thanks. You need an Alexa. I mean, an Echo.
So I've seen a few of these.
Sure.
The value realization to the consumer that you're suggesting of $200 a year, that comes from just suggesting behavioral change.
It's a combination of things. It is detecting the leaks and leak deterrent. It is behavioral change, and it is appliance use. It's those combination of things.
So it's a combination. And
leaks, and you may have heard the stat, the U.S. Geological Survey is saying about 15% of our water consumption for the average consumer is due to leaks. So we stop that alone, we're closing the gap on the $200 pretty quickly.
And what's the typical action that a consumer needs to take when there's a leak detected?
You know what, the biggest leaks come from appliances. So the simplest leak is a toilet leak.
Yeah.
And just the lack of knowledge of the leak. And this whole thing came from a personal experience with a water leak. I lost a couple of $100, couldn't figure out what the heck was wrong, ran through a series of tests and said, hey, there's got to be a better way. I need to know what my water consumption looks like, maybe daily instead of monthly or quarterly.
And if you go back to the slide on the different technology approaches.
Yeah.
So are you different than all of these, or
Yes.
are you in one of these?
We're not in this category. We're not in any of these categories. We're sound and vibration, hence why our technology is much lower cost.
I got it. And to your knowledge, are you the only guys doing that?
To my knowledge, yes.
Sound and vibration.
Yep.
Interesting.
It's heavy lifting with machine learning. That's what makes it happen.
Got it. It's ultimately signal processing.
I'm sorry?
Ultimately, it's a signal processing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it starts with digital signal processing and then carries on from there.
And what are the accuracy metrics that you?
We're more accurate than the city water meter. I'm pretty confident of that.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, at what level do we lose accuracy? Certainly at the second level, we're losing accuracy, but we've been testing it like at every 10 seconds, and we're still like 95% accurate. And in a lab setting, I can get down to 10 drips a second off of a faucet.
And is it battery? It's battery pack?
We're planning on it being a plug-in device, but at launch, but certainly open to battery.
And does that plug-in approach create limitations on where it can be deployed in practice? Take the toilet scenario.
Well, ideally, it's plugged into where the pipe comes inbound to the home.
Got it.
Preferably on the house side of the meter.
Got it.
Which is also an advantage. Some of these devices have to be on a meter, which can be in a meter pit and outside and all that kind of nonsense.
And how are you able to go from there to determine where the leak is happening?
Yeah, so what was initially a challenge, because just pick toilets as an example. I walked in assuming all toilets look the same. That is not true. And so we had to adjust the algorithms to identify different signatures. And then when we did that, what happened is we realized we can actually tell you how many toilets you have in the home or how many washing machines you have in the home. And based off of those signatures, we could tell you the distance from the device. And if I know the distance from the device, I could at least kind of hint at your upstairs toilet or your downstairs toilet.
And how many units have you produced?
We're in prototype phase. I have 6 units. We're moving to about 25 to do the private betas.
Cool. Wow, super interesting. Super interesting. Is the one on the right, the bottom right?
Yeah, that's Flowy. It's the only one that's in market.
Yeah.
They just did a deal with a PNC carrier out of Canada.
Yeah.
I think their device is a couple $300.
Yeah.
Most of these devices are $250 plus. That one up there is $1,500. The one in the top left. That was the one I was going to buy when I realized $1,500 was just a stupid amount to pay for a $100 water problem.
That's very cool. Super cool.
Just like $200 a year is less than a penny a day. I'm not sure how people view that.
Well, that's the biggest issue. Yeah.
I mean, for catastrophic, leaks that cost you $1,000, I could see this being important if you have a problem like that. But usual use, that you can pick up, let's say with your monthly bill, that something's going on.
Right.
You might say, well, I'll just look at my bill each month. If something's off, I'll.
Well, a lot of folks don't look at their bill, you know, and so you could easily lose $20 a month in and out on a leaky toilet. We did do a national market research study and try to understand what the price point, where the elasticity, you know, all that kind of stuff. That at about $100 a unit is where you see a significant drop off. So, you know, we kind of, you know, I drank the Kool-Aid, right? But that at $250 a price point for the homeowner market is never going to fly. But we do believe that an $80 price point will fly. And we are chasing the commercial market. I mean, our private betas will primarily be commercial in nature, just because there's right. I'm sorry. Yeah. So tracking like multi-unit apartment buildings, restaurants, etc. What's going on there? That's what I mean by commercial. Yeah.
Go to market. Have you thought about like there's a direct consumer, but there's also like
No, I don't want to deal with the bureaucracy of the water company, but the insurance carriers is the place. So we are talking to 8 insurance carriers, and many of them are actively looking for somebody like us.
for the leak prevention.
For leak prevention. $10 billion. I mean, these guys, the big guys, are paying out, you know, north of $1 billion a year in damages. So being able to cut 10% of that, we even think they could give away, at our price point, they could give away the product and come out ahead.
What's the connection? Or is it, again, just
Yeah, really, to change behavior, we see voice as an important part of that. And so we want that level of interactivity of kind of always on. I mean, we can send alerts, we can be clever about gamification, and we have a number of ideas in and around that on how to do that. But with the physical presence of the Alexa, and you know, at some point, you know, when Alexa, when Echo moves to kind of alerts, maybe we can set up alerts and have reminders and do other things that would help kind of in that engagement process.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.